So much pressure on arriving to the thing you're running to help you battle the demons that you're running from. And now because I'm running for something, getting to the thing I'm running to it's no pressure on it anymore. I just get excited, like, did we get there yet? No, we'll get there, and I just keep going.
Bold visionaries, faithful disruptors. Some call them crazy, but they are called to create. Under His power, for His glory. The Faith-Driven Entrepreneur Podcast. Billboard charting Christian hip-hop artist and entrepreneur, Tadeshi, shares how he evolved from missionary-minded musician to intentional entrepreneur.
So one of the things we love talking about on the Faith-Driven Entrepreneur Podcast is this idea of entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
I love it how Lecrae says it. He says, man, it's a funny word, but it's all around.
Yeah.
It's in everything we do. And I think so oftentimes at church, like, we have this like narrow lens of like, oh, it must be the Silicon Valley tech, this, that, whatever, venture, blah, blah, blah. But we miss the fact of how prevalent entrepreneurship is.
Yeah.
And when I think about music, like, it feels like it's one of those things that starts as art, it moves into entrepreneurship. Are you artists? Are you entrepreneur? Where are you today and where did you start?
It's really good, bro. So I would say today I'm an entrepreneur. Yeah, I think when I first started, I was definitely more of a missionary, and I saw it that way because of where I was in my faith walk, and I really felt called to take the language of the day or a language of a culture. Hip-hop is its own language in a lot of ways, and I wanted to take that language, learn it, involve myself in it, inundate myself by it or with it, and jump into the culture and start speaking the truth of Jesus. And I found myself over time, because of the desire to grow, to reach more, to spread, to provide, I saw things needing to shift into more of an entrepreneurial space. Before it was more of like a donor-based model of if you book me and bring me in, thanks, and whatever you're willing to give works. But you start to realize I like to say, I decided to learn how to meet the needs of people, and that made me an entrepreneur. And so I just wanted to meet the needs of the people around me. I was like, okay, I need to provide for my family, but I also want to do something that lasts, that leaves a lasting impact, but that lasts beyond who I am. And it took capital. It took people putting me with certain programs and systems that needed money to be funded to get funded. But in addition to that, it's hard to grow when everyone is looking at it as kind of like a pastime or a hobby. And entrepreneurship is anything but a hobby. And so I found myself having to get out of those circles and get into other circles that made more sense to say, I'm going to be an entrepreneur and I'm going to grow this thing and meet the needs of others, but also find a way to do it where I can share the truth of what I believe. So.
When you think about like music, let's camp there for a little bit before we come back to it. Like, when you talk about music and messaging, sometimes there's like two tracks. There's like, yeah, that sounds good. And then when somebody stops for a moment and they say, ooh, the words, those are deep.
Yeah.
Like, just tell us about the beauty of that. Like you're kind of mixing the track with something that feels good, sounds good.
Yeah.
But there's such depth.
Yes. So I'll speak to that from a musical side and then from a faith side. But from a musical sense, musicality to me is a two-way highway. It's not just the dissemination of sound or information, but it is the receiving of and response to what you heard or what you received. So when I go do a show, or when someone puts on a song and they hear it, their response is their interaction and two-way highway engagement of who I am as a creative and what the music is overall. That has been one of the most amazing moments of my life. Every time I see the relationship happening, it gives me life. I also do know music is its own language in a lot of ways. And so if you can tap into the right sentiment for someone's life, it becomes the soundtrack. It becomes the way they can explain what they feel. it becomes the point in time for them that they hold on to that goes with the moment they were in. So it becomes its own language, and I've fallen in love with that. When you can blend together faith in my music, and when I can blend that together well, it comes from a true place. Authenticity, I think, reigns in a lot of ways in creativity. If you can be authentically yourself, authentic to what you want to say, and it authentically tap into who people feel they are authentically, not to be redundant, but like if it can do that, it transcends just listenership. It does something different, man. And that's what I found myself being able to do as a creative, is to tap into that. And stewarding that is where entrepreneurship came in, because I wanted to steward that well, to not only have opportunity to continue to do it, because I do think that's not just a talent, but a gifting and a calling, but I also believe through entrepreneurship I'm able to take it to more places than I probably would without gaining that mindset or having that outlet.
Does it always, of those two tracks, does it always start like, man, you lock all the words, it's tight, and then you put the music to it? Or when you start with the words, are you 70% of the way there and it changes as the beat matches?
Yeah, that's a great question. So that's depending on the person. For me personally, I started with music. When I first started when I got into music game, I would always start with getting the lyrics and then bringing in the music to match the lyrics. And over time it shifted because sonically the connection began to be more of what spoke to me. And the lyrics, they're not an afterthought, but they are now their own instrument. They become their own instrument in it, and the way that I deliver the lyrics become its own instrumentation as well. And so now it's kind of the latter. It really is, let me get the music done, and then let me come in with the lyrics and build it out as we go. And I found that to be exciting as well, because some lyrics are inspired in the sense that they just come to me, and then there are other moments where I see what's going on in the world around me, and I write because of that. So that's kind of where I've landed recently.
So when you started, like I would say, like, you know, some businesses, they have that first dollar bill. Like, this is where the business started. And they sign it, customer sign it, throw it up on the wall, and never leaves. For you as a kid, or for whenever the journey started, do you remember the first time you wrote something down that turned into a song?
Yes. Excuse me. Yes, I do. I remember being in elementary school and writing a song because I wanted to go to school and show it to my friends, and my teacher had me stand up and sing it. And she thought that would make me be quiet if I had to stand up and be embarrassed in front of the class, and it made me want to do it more. And I kept doing it. And I was like, this is the coolest thing on earth. I'm going to do this forever. And I really didn't write another song until I got to college. And that was the moment where I knew there was distinction. I went to the school here in Texas, Baylor University.
Hey,
come on, stick them. Here we go. Baylor was where I became a Christian. Baylor is where I wrote my first Christian song. Baylor is where I got on stage at a talent show and I performed this song. It was, the reason it stands out is because it was the longest song title I'd ever heard in my life. It was "Are You Ready to Be Down with Christ tonight?" Question mark. That was the song title. Yeah, it was really bad. I appreciate that you were kind and just
great URL.
Yeah, it's a great URL. Great. So I just was like, oh, let me go up here and rap this run-on sentence. And it was really bad, bro. Like, it wasn't a good song.
Was this like all campus, like singer, like? Oh, wait,
no. So there was a Greek organization on campus who was doing a talent show, and my spiritual father, who led me to the Lord, was like, "You need to do this song." And I was, you need to write a song and do this. And I was like, no. And I was doing track, and I was playing football, and a guy on the track team with me, this guy named Sean, who plays bass. He played bass, keyboard, guitar, so he made the music, and then live played bass while the music was playing. The beat was on the keyboard, and my friend Keenan, my spiritual father, he sang. So he sang the chorus that I wrote. I rapped the lyrics, and when it was done, it was like a like it just people were like, what is that? What is he doing? And so at this time, everyone associated hip hop to either violence or club music, but no one had associated it with faith. And I honestly just did it because it was the language I spoke, and it was the thing I felt called to do, and I did it because my spiritual father encouraged me to do it. Well, fast forward 2 months later, a guy on the football team came to my apartment, like Nicodemus. It was like 2 in the morning. He knocked on my door. And I was like, what's up, dude? He's like, can I come in? I'm like, yeah. Long story short, he sits down and tells me how he's facing a drug charge. His girlfriend is pregnant. At Baylor at the time, if your girlfriend's pregnant, you get kicked out of school. So he's about to lose his scholarship. He's probably going to go to jail. He's terrified. And he comes to me, and I'm like, bro, I'm 19. Like, I don't know what you're going through. And he said, I just want to talk to someone real. And I was like, well, what makes you think I'm real? And he said, anybody who would stand on stage and do what you did, you gotta love God. Like, you gotta love God.